is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going around the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my god!
Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled!
Second very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going around the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my god!
Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled!
Second very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Welcome one, welcome all to SimSpeed TV. live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. This is the Oceanic Dirt Sim Events ASC Series, Australia's premier online sprint car series. 410 cubic inches of madness in many different cars here tonight. Some of the best dirt oval races from the Southern Hemisphere and beyond in the world of sim racing. For SimSpeed TV, my name is Reese Gardner. Joining me in the commentary box for the first time this season, Nick Scaraju. Nick, welcome. It's going to be an interesting night here at Knoxville, the world capital of sprint car racing. Certainly quite the baptism of fire for you.
Yeah, no, it's a really exciting to be here tonight. Really looking forward to seeing what Knoxville brings up. But yeah, I hear there's some really good racing out on this circuit.
Certainly is. Knoxville, one of the classic dirt racing venues located in Iowa in the USA. It's one of those places that that has a very special air to it, very wide open turns. You're flat out almost the whole way round when the track is nice and green. And in the Midwestern United States, which is one of the prime hotspots for dirt speedway racing, certainly built itself a fantastic reputation. And a lot of drivers having some experience at Knoxville over the weekend in the Majors series, but here we're racing for ASC points, and there in the little town of Knoxville in Iowa is the circuit, smack dab in the middle of things, as it were. Half a mile long with some very gently banked corners, but you see just how wide open these corners are, Nick. It's a wonderful circuit, and it's definitely one that's hard to pass at as well, as we saw on the weekend. You definitely can get an advantage over your competitors if you get your line right, but due to the open and curving nature of these corners, it can be very difficult to put a move on a rival.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, yeah, looking to just see where those overtaking maneuvers are, and yeah, to see everyone's different strategies on seeing how they attack this half-mile track.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be 30 laps in the feature here tonight. But of course, we've got all of the heats to come before that, the consolations, and of course, we can't forget the very first section of the night, the time trials, which are going to be coming up very, very shortly. And of course, in practice, the driver's only getting 2 laps worth. Otherwise, they will get a penalty for the heats. It's going to affect the points hauls of some of the drivers here tonight if they get that wrong. Speaking of points, championship standings, and they certainly look interesting coming out of last round at Limaland. Lewis Hewitt and David Heilemann now equal on points. Lewis Hewitt, remember, has not won a feature this season. David Heilemann taking the feature victory back at round 2 at Eldora Speedway. But a lot of drivers having a very difficult time both at Williams Grove and at Limaland, which means that they've missed out on some valuable points. So Hewitt and Heilemann equal coming through the halfway point of the championship. We are in for a fantastic second half of the season.
Yeah, it's good seeing a few familiar names there as well. So, just that mid section through as well. A lot of people pretty tight on those points there, all the way from 3rd to 8th.
Yeah, I can see Joel Berkeley and Clayton Tilley separated by only 1 point there for 7th and 8th. And Brad O'Brien, the winner of the feature last round at Limaland, rocketing himself up into 9th in the standings. And Cameron Dance with some good showings as well, breaking into the top 10 for the first time this season, with Harry Stewart and Daniel Hartigan 200 or so points clear of Hewitt and Heilemann. It's going to be difficult for them to make up that margin, but it can certainly be done. Well, we're about to get into the swing of things for the night. We'll see whether Hewitt or Heilemann can gain an advantage over the other, or if Hartigan or Stewart can break through and grab that elusive victory. We also got to remember Richie McLeod there in 5th place in the standings. He was the winner first time out in the feature at Volusia. He has not visited the top step of the podium ever since, but managing to keep himself in that 5th place, but he is being chased down by James Rice in the standings. Well, practice is currently on here at Knoxville, and the drivers setting their representative lap times just to see how things stand on this nice, clean track. And I'm seeing a couple of drivers experimenting with lines once again in this practice session. Knoxville, very wide, very fast. It's one of those circuits that you can either go all the way down to the inside through the turns, but of course you have to be careful of the berm on the inside, or you can run all the way out to the fence and keep up the momentum with the masses of downforce that these 410 sprint cars produce. Currently on top of the practice timesheets, Richie McLeod, 5th place in the championship, and as I said, winner at Volusia, getting his night off to a very good start. But you can see, Nick, those times already very close. Looks like the almost the entirety of the top 10 only within, 3/4 of a tenth of each other?
Yeah, super close. And even in the top 5, 3/100ths of a second. So, yeah, expecting to see some really seriously close racing here.
Yes, indeed. McLeod, fastest on a 14.846, but Ryan Harris and Clayton Tilley have put in some excellent times as well. Of course, a lot of grip available on the track at the moment as it is clean, completely unused at the start of the night, but as things go on, the drivers will continue driving over those lines. They will throw clay further up the circuit. The groove will start forming, and that is where an awful lot of the pace will be had. On board with James Rice for United Sim Sports, sorry. Keep calling them United Esports, and that's technically what their full organization is, but this is the sim racing arm, and certainly he's got quite a bit to play for here tonight with 5th in the championship, and if he can finish ahead of McLeod, and if he can get better results than McLeod through the heats, he'll certainly put on a challenge for that 4th place. Scott Griffiths for Synergy Sim Racing, the team that James Rice left just a couple rounds back, currently all the way down in 48th position, having set one of the slower times out there, but rockets himself up with the setting of that lap time potentially. We've got 50 cars here tonight, so at the very least, it looks like we're going to have 5 heats potentially, which is certainly going to bring things up.
Yeah, that sounds excellent. There'll be plenty of racing to watch, and yeah, it'll be a pretty tightly contested feature by the sounds of it.
Yeah, well, the whole point of the night to get into the feature in the first place is what the drivers are going to have to work through first as the checkered flag flies in the practice session. We're going to get through now into the time trials, and this is where some of the points will be gained, because obviously points are awarded for every session outside of practice. So now the drivers really get to strut their stuff here and get the potential for some qualifying points to be put on the board. We've got to remember also, as per usual in the ASC series, once the heat grids are formed, the top 4 are inverted, so the drivers do have to be careful of that. Bradley Oldfield, one of the first drivers out on track at the moment, and taking those turns lovely and flat out, as you would expect. And his first time will get on the board pretty soon. You really get a feel watching drivers like Oldfield for how treacherous Knoxville can be with the big rotation in the middle of the corner. But that first lap from Oldfield, a 15.116, puts him on top for now. Ryan Harris, who we look at the moment, managing to put himself into 5th. And running a 16.036 for his second lap. So that is going to be the best that Ryan Harris can do. Bob King for Ace Esports as well. A driver who scored incredibly well last round at Limaland, finishing in 2nd place in the feature. He's got a lot to play for here as well.
Yeah, Bob King just a little bit off the pace there, so still got up on the leaderboard at the moment. It looks like Cooper Dunn to Bradley Oldfield, so still pretty inseparable at the moment, as we just see Bob King come across the line then for a 15.2.
Yeah, and that will put him 13th, and it's actually tied for P1 and P2 on our overlays here. Cooper Dunn and Daniel Gow running a time that's only separated by 1,000th of a second in the iRacing sim, so that's basically dead even for those top two positions. And Daniel Gow, of course, taking the feature victory at Williams Grove, so getting his night off to a good start here at Knoxville as well, as we see Callum Davidson go to 15th position all up, and immediately demoted to 16th. So that's a gap of only 0.06 of a second to the top there for Mr. Davidson. And Cameron Dance, goodness me, he's rocketed himself to the top of the timesheets in the dying moments of the session. This is interesting. Cameron Dance hasn't quite shown that level of pace in this series before. 15.090, that's 0.06 of a second, then back to Joel Berkeley, who managed to put himself near the top as well. What about Caden Brown in the number 3? Looks like a 15.2 for him to start things out. And he's dead on with Josh Barry in the number 20 for that 33rd position. No time separating them. 15.172 for his second lap, and that puts him inside the top 20. That's a good run from Caden.
Yeah, just seeing what we're going to get in this last 50 seconds. We've got Brenton Hobson, pretty big Twitch streamer there, coming through and be 15.136, so put him somewhere near the top 20 there. For
actually, including Hobo, there's 3 drivers on a 15.136. Richie McLeod and Ashton Manif have run the exact same time. Hopefully for him he can go faster. No, he cannot. So, my goodness. I look further and further down the timesheets, and I'm seeing more and more drivers equal on times as Dylan DeBono goes up into 6th place. Fantastic run from him. But just get this. Okay, Lewis Hewitt, Cooper Dunn, Daniel Gow, Dylan DeBono. 15.112, 15.112, 15.113, 15.115. That's what we've got to deal with here at the end of qualifying, and those are the times as they stand, because we are straight into the first heat race of the night. Heat 1, it's going to be 8 laps, a 1/10 of a second separating the top 27. But there we go. Those are all of the times set. And we move forward into the Heat 1 grid. 11 cars in this one. Brad O'Brien takes pole position for this, thanks to the top 4 invert. Ashton Manif joins him on the first row. DeBono and Dance behind them. Daniel Selleck and Ryan Harris come home from row 3. Damian Rasmussen and Cam Taylor on row 4. Tyler Stevenson and Tyler Howard rounding out the top 10. Our 11th and final car is Zach Howell in the number 76. And the field will shortly begin moving away here behind the pace truck. 2 formation laps, and then we go green for a further 8. I'm really looking forward to this because Knoxville certainly turned it up in the majors, and with the quality of the field in ASC, we're sure to see at least a little bit of drama, but hopefully a lot of fantastic racing.
Yeah, super excited, Reese. It is known as the sprint car capital of the world, and I reckon we're just about to find out about that.
Indeed we are, and it's nice and cool out on track as well. Very cold temperatures here this evening. Currently 22 past 7 in the evening in sim time, so we'll see if the sun sets before we end the night. Looks like there's a pretty long wait here to get things going behind the pace truck. Everyone is currently on the grid, and the pace truck is now away, as we can see. So now the drivers will gear up for this race start. Now Knoxville, early on in the night, it seems like both rows, inside and outside, have a pretty even chance to make a good getaway, but you'll see as the night goes on, the amount of compressed clay up the top of the circuit on the exit of the corners will mean that there's a lot less stability for drivers when they get on the throttle on those corner exits. So the further on the night goes, the less of an advantage the outside line is going to have, or to flip it around, the more of an advantage you have starting on the inside. That's one of the many things the drivers have to think about here.
You're expecting a few. Do you find that it would be better to be on the inside or the outside?
Yeah,
the way
definitely
that Kentucky
inside.
shaped? Yeah, so Kentucky is a bit more leaning towards the inside. The best line.
Yeah, for sure. Just got a brief amount of time to go here. The drivers halfway around their second formation lap, and we see the start-finish area here at Knoxville. The start-finish line actually quite close to the entry for turn 1, but now the drivers are gearing up. Brad O'Brien is going to lead them away in the number 77. See when he goes. He goes a bit early here as the green flag flies, and we are racing at Knoxville. It was a good jump from Dylan DeBono to slot into second ahead of Ashton Manif. But you see Cameron Dance already working that inside line, trying to get the advantage on Ashton. Huge speeds attained by these drivers through the turns at Knoxville, and there's contact between Manif and Dylan DeBono. DeBono losing an awful lot of momentum there, all the way back into 7th place. He's going to have to get his pace up if he wants to get through into the feature. Remember, only the top 4 transfer.
Yeah, just looking as well, Brad O'Brien and Ashton Manif seem to be just pulling it that little bit away. So Brad O'Brien really getting the jump on the rest of the field at this start of the race.
Cameron Dance moved himself up into 2nd place. Daniel Selleck is currently under immense pressure from Ashton Manif. We're right on board with him, and you can see the sun just glaring into drivers' eyes down the start-finish stretch. Oh no, actually, that's the back straight coming out onto the start-finish stretch now. But Ashton, trying his best to work the cushion, doesn't seem to be gaining much of an advantage over Selleck, and I'm seeing a couple of cars around in the background. Tyler Stevenson and Dylan DeBono was involved as well. DeBono, slow to get going, so his heat has just gone from bad to worse.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate there for Dylan DeBono, so hopefully he can try and get back into it. But as we're just seeing, Ryan Harris and Damien Ramondson, great, right down the inside there.
Yeah, looking pretty good there between those two, Ryan and Damien. Damien trying his best to fire one up the inside right on the back of Ryan Harris. You don't get much of a view out of the front of these things when there's a car in the way, and it's white flag for our race leader, Brad O'Brien. Rasmussen to the inside. He tries to take it, but Ryan Harris has the traction around the outside. He's going to protect it. As we see Brad O'Brien up ahead, come through to take victory. Cameron Dance in 2nd, Daniel Selleck in 3rd, and Ashton Manif completes the top 4. They all transfer through to the feature, as in spite of the finish between Harris and Rasmussen being very close, they are going to have to work their way through the consolations once all of the heats are gone. So those are your results from Heat 1, and we immediately are going right into Heat 2. Another 11-car grid for you tonight. Joe Daly and Richie McLeod are on the front row, with Bradley Oldfield and Joel Berkeley in 3rd and 4th. Aaron Kelly and Jacob Dixon take up the 3rd row. Corey Steinhauser for Speedway Memes Motorsports starts in 7th alongside Nathan Norman, who is a new addition to SM Simsport, formerly of One Performance Racing. He has joined race director Brady Baldwin's sim team for this round. Scott Griffiths and Nash Granger round out the top 10, and it's Hayden McCandy starting from the back. So, as the pace truck pulls away once again, this looks like quite the field. Oldfield and Berkeley are the 2 drivers who you would generally consider to be the favourites to win, but Joel Berkeley has had some pretty rotten luck in the heats over these last couple rounds. He's had to fight his way through the consolations to get a spot in the feature. And Richie McLeod, we got to remember, is no slouch as well, starting there on the outside. We see the back of his car from Joel Berkeley's point of view. So either way, this is going to be quite a tightly contested heat up the top.
Yeah, great race 1 there, Reese. Yeah, some really good side-by-side action. So I reckon, yeah, this heat's going to be really good. Yeah,
you're seeing a very distinct groove forming down there on the inside. Of course, that line is going to move further and further up the circuit the longer the night goes on. But Joe Daly, starting on pole for this one, it's going to be quite the experience for him leading this field away, and he will have the advantage. He can basically go anytime he likes after they pass the control line when the pace truck pulls in. So with Berkeley, with Oldfield, with McLeod, with Aaron Kelly as well all behind him, it's going to be interesting. They are away, and it looks like there was actually a concertina back in the field because Joel Berkeley has fallen right back outside the top 4, but he's immediately getting it back there, passing Aaron Kelly on the inside, or trying to at least. He catches the berm, but Joe Daly leading them away and doing a very good job up the front. Starting to face some pressure from Richie McLeod and Bradley Oldfield, though, and Berkeley has not been successful in getting by Kelly.
Yeah, did definitely look as they crossed that start-finish line. A bit of contact with Berkeley and someone else, but he seems to be holding that inside line at the moment.
Yeah, definitely seems it. Joe Daly is coming under quite a bit of pressure now from Richie, our round 1 feature winner. Getting slightly better exit is Mr. McLeod, but nothing doing for now. Daly throwing his car with a narrower run into the corners to try and get a bit more momentum in the mid-corner, but it hasn't been successful. Richie McLeod takes the lead, and he looks like he is going to just protect it there from Joe Daly, as Bradley Oldfield now under some immense pressure from Aaron Kelly, but he has got a face full of Daly himself.
Yeah, it looks like Oldfield and Kelly right on the back there, side by side again. So Aaron Kelly just preferring to take that inside line a little bit. Possibly might be a little bit more grip there as they're throwing that clay really, really wide.
That they are, and Daly has unfortunately compromised his exit off the final turn. That's allowed Bradley Oldfield through into second. Can he maintain the momentum on the inside? There's contact there. Aaron Kelly almost spun out. And a little bit of contact then between the two of them, and he is around Aaron Kelly, vaulting over, and another car involved in that one as well. A big shame between them. Joe Daly, meanwhile, has fallen back to 5th place. Facing up against Nathan Norman, it is white flag, and Joel Berkeley round the outside then of Bradley Oldfield. He takes second. He is on a late race charge, but he has not been able to get it done. Richie McLeod wins the heat. Berkeley second, Oldfield third, and Jacob Dixon started 6th and finished 4th. Poor Joe Daly, on the other hand, well, he started on pole, but he's going to have to work his way through the consolations.
Yeah, a few movers and shakers in that one as well, and very unfortunate there for Aaron Kelly. I think he was down about 7 spots with that contact earlier on, so pretty unfortunate.
It indeed was, but he does have a couple more chances here tonight as we go through the C&B mains. Here is the grid for Heat 3 then. Mitchell G and Brenton Hobson are on the front row, and a reminder, thanks to Hobo88, the 6th place finisher in every feature gets $10 cold hard cash. Hayden Cardwell starts in 3rd with Lewis Hewitt alongside him. Remember, Lewis is joint championship leader with David Heilemann. Caden Brown and Lewis Clark on the 3rd row, with Vickers and Broom coming off row 4. Ethan Bastian is starting at the end of the top 10, which is going to be interesting for him. He is a driver with a lot of pace under his belt in the Pace Syndicate car. Braden Shute and Clayton Tilley rounding out your field, and Tilley certainly had some interesting form at Knoxville in the majors, but it looks like he is not taking the start, so that is a big shame. Clayton, definitely one of the drivers to watch in sprint car racing here on the iRacing sim, but yeah, a bit unfortunate that we won't be seeing him tonight. However, Mitchell G and Brenton Hobson, that is quite a front row, both of them with great amounts of dirt racing experience, and they certainly know how to drive a sprint car around a half-mile oval.
Yeah, just seeing them all bunched together now. So, yeah, I'm a bit curious to see who's your favourite. I reckon Brenton Hobson might have this one. He's pretty quick, but yeah, keen to see how this pans out.
Yeah, it is difficult to pass around here, but Hayden Cardwell and Lewis Hewitt definitely had an edge over Hobson and G at many previous rounds. However, they will be starting on the row behind, so They're going to have to maybe get the elbows out a little to get through into those top positions. In comes the pace truck. Mitchell G now leads them away. Bit of an off-form start there as they go 3 wide down the front stretch to start things off, but G leads, and losing momentum on the inside there was Hayden Cardwell. He's going to have to pick up the pace a bit there. Brenton Hobson fighting to keep his positions from Caden Brown and Lewis Hewitt in the yellow sprint car that you see. Hobbo's still working the inside, but that slick groove down on the bottom is not playing nice with him. Oh, he almost backs himself into Cardwell, and Hayden is going to do the slide job on him and take the position as Caden Brown and Lewis Hewitt fighting side by side for that second place. Hewitt gets the slide job done, and he is in front, but Mitchell G has managed to get away with this thanks to all this battling.
Yeah, Mitchell G definitely keeping his nose clean, but yeah, pretty unfortunate there for Hobbo getting shuffled down so quickly, but thankfully no real incidents yet. We've just seen a lot of people run right up high up on that line.
Yeah, they're definitely making it difficult for their right rear tyres there, putting them so close to the wall every time. Lewis Hewitt is traditionally a big fan of running the high line on ovals, and I see Hayden Cardwell there on the inside taking the late apex. He ran really high at the entry of the corner and then dipped down to the inside. That's managed to vault him into second place as a result. An excellent move from Hayden Cardwell to take that, but finding the wall a bit for his troubles, and Caden Brown still not done with those guys. He's trying everything he can to stay with them, and Cardwell now on the inside and sticking to it down the straight, really putting Mitchell G under huge amounts of pressure here for the race lead, but he's in the wall and he's lost the position. Cardwell now into fourth. He may face a bit of trouble from fifth place Lewis Clark, but it seems, oh no, second and third place have come together. Caden Brown and Lewis Hewitt, and Hayden Cardwell involved in that as well, but he's managed to get away with it. Lewis Hewitt is not going to be very happy with how that one's gone, and it's white flag as Clark on Cardwell. Cardwell has lost his front wing. Mitchell G, meanwhile, out in front, takes a dominant feature victory, stayed out of all the drama. Cardwell manages to hold on for second, Clark in third, and Braden Shute coming home from the back of the top 10 to finish in fourth. That was quite the dramatic heat.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was just hearing over the race radio as well. So yeah, Lewis Hewitt pretty upset over what had happened. He was holding pretty strong there in second. So yeah, that incident has pushed him right down towards the back there.
Yeah, he's going to have to work his way up through the consolations as well, as is everyone outside of that top 4. Well, nights move quickly here in the ASC series, and we are live then for the 4th heat of the night. Rice and Schultz are on your front row, with Harry Stewart and Cooper Dunn 3rd and 4th. Callum Davidson and Bob King on row 3. Nathan Bennett and Josh Barry on row 4. And rounding out the top 10, it's Devin Butts and Jake Maloney. Our final car in this grid is Scott Reed in the number 27 for Revolution Satellite Racing. Now, I'm really looking forward to seeing how this heat turns out. It looks like one of our drivers has not taken to the grid. I think it might be Scott Reed. Yeah, Scott Reed, unfortunately, has not taken to the grid here. So it's another 10-car heat for this. But James Rice, starting off from this pole position, he's certainly shown flashes of brilliance in this series, and he is not in the top 10 in the championship standings for nothing.
No, that's exactly right. And by the looks of it, that front is where you want to be. We've just seen in the last couple of heat races, whoever seems to be starting on first seems to be getting that definite extra advantage.
Yes, indeed. And you really get a feel for how the track is evolving now at this stage. You see the slick groove down on the inside of the corners. That's from the cars going over it with all of their aerodynamic load and the tires heating up and slicking up the clay down there as they power over it. And that means that there's going to be a bit less grip available for drivers if they run on those lines. And you see the transition from the light-colored clay to the piles of dark brown. That is where the groove is at the moment. And anywhere between that and the slickness down on the bottom, drivers will be able to use and get optimum grip. But as we've seen, it's going to be quite the interesting game. And the drivers starting on the outside are definitely going to be at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I was just checking out some of those beautiful scenic shots that Jay was just putting up there. Beautiful down here at Knoxville Raceway. So
We
nice
are
warm day.
away.
Oh,
Yeah, it is. Lovely warm day, and James Rice has gotten an excellent start there. Harry Stewart has already put himself up into second. Davidson and Schultz now fighting for that third and fourth position. They're starting to fall under some pressure from Josh Barry. He smells blood. Barry started in eighth. James Rice up on the front row. It's a United Sim Sport 1-2 here. Rice and Stewart, and 3 wide coming into turn 1. Josh Barry vaults ahead of both Schultz and Davidson to take that third place. Excellent job from him, but Schultz fighting back at him. And the number 2 of Bob King working the inside. Going to be interesting to see how he copes as the laps go on.
yeah, Bob King keeping his nose pretty clean on that and really nailing that apex. So he has actually been passing a few guys up through the inside there, as we're seeing him again favouring that inside line. Yeah, contact there with Callum Davidson has just pushed him back a little bit.
And Devin Butts trying to take advantage, but King gets him right back there down the front straight. Very close racing in this heat at the moment. James Rice has not been able to get away from the field this time, and Harry Stewart trying his best to keep it going, keep the momentum up, but nothing's happening for him at the moment. Oh, well, that's a big crash there. Bob King and Callum Davidson have come together, both vaulting over with big damage. And King, I think, definitely out of this one on his side. And it looks like John Schultz we're going to say goodbye to for now as well. But for the top 4, it's absolutely rollicking at the moment. Stewart holding off Barry, holding off Butts. This is going to be quite interesting. John Schultz has already apologised for the incident. And it's white flag. James Rice coming across the line. Harry Stewart goes to the inside. One more try at his teammate, but it's not going to work. Rice has the momentum, and he takes victory. And that's Stewart in third, Stewart in second, Barry in third, and Devin Butts holding on for that 4th place. Callum Davidson, unfortunately, finishing outside the top 4. And it's John Schultz that I think ultimately caused that incident between Schultz and... No, sorry, my apologies. I completely got the driver names wrong there. It was King and Schultz involved in the incident. So John Schultz taking responsibility for that one, putting his hand up and saying, very sorry. And that's fair play to him. But unfortunately, it does mean that both he and King are going to be in for a bit of a tough night. Final heat of the night then, Heat 5. And we got a 10-car grid for this one. It's Daniel Hartigan and the eNASCAR champion Zach Novak starting on the front row. Clayton Davies and Daniel Gow on the second row. It's Beatty and Russell in 5th and 6th, with Aidan Hall and Cody Lawrence on row 4. Lumsden and Lamacchia rounding out our 10 cars here. Now, I am very interested to see how this heat goes, because Zach Novak, he's made a few appearances this season, but has never quite been able to get the result together. Through no fault of his own, obviously. He's just been involved in a bit of melee in the opening laps of heats and features, and I don't think he's actually properly made it to a feature yet in the ASC series, so he'll definitely be hoping for a nice, clean race this time around.
Yeah, I was just seeing there on the pacing lap, Daniel Hardigan pulling a few wheelies over the line. I reckon we're... with seeing how this track's wearing in, I reckon we're going to see it a little bit tighter at the front. I reckon we'll end up with a last lap battle for the lead.
Hopefully we get that, and hopefully it ends up clean, because we've certainly seen how little bits of contact can spiral into huge, unfortunate incidents for drivers. The pace truck is going to pull in momentarily. In it goes, and now the field is under the control of Daniel Hardigan. How can Zach Novak respond? Hardigan has gotten the jump, and Novak has not been able to clear off Clayton Davies, who moves through into third. Novak now battling for that third position with Jaden Russell, and Russell, with a bit of contact there with Novak, manages to save it, but he's all the way at the back now. So Daniel Hardigan leads after lap 1 in second place. We got Zach Novak, who's just powered round the outside of Davies. But Davies trying the slide job back on him. Man, this is a great battle to see between these drivers. Novak is through then on the outside. He just needs to try and keep that momentum up. They've got to be careful of Daniel Gao coming up behind them, though, as, oh, no, Novak into the wall there. And that is going to be something difficult for him to deal with. He's going to have to work his way through the consolation here. Novak just doesn't seem very comfortable in the car at the moment.
Yeah, that incident looks like it has cost him only about a second and a half, but I can see him dropping away from the leader at the moment, but we're still at the top four within a second of each other. Looks like it's starting to heat up a little bit between Davies and Daniel Gao.
Yeah, that it is. This is for second place on track, and Gao doing the slide job, but Davies very wise to it, immediately gets him back as they start the third last lap. And they're just trading places at the moment. This is helping out the car of Cody Lawrence behind. He could potentially have a look in here for a podium position, but remember, he's got to worry about Aiden Hall coming up behind him, who could potentially take that fourth place and the transfer spot from him. Gonna have to wait and see, though. Daniel Hardigan is going to start his final lap momentarily. Oh my goodness, that was quite the move into the turn there from Aiden Hall, nearly cleaning up Lawrence and Davies, but keeps his nose clean. It is the white flag lap. Hardigan with a dominant victory. Coming together, it's Davies, and oh my goodness, Davies and Lawrence right at the end there. And that is, looks like that's actually put him completely out as Cody Lawrence, as Daniel Hardigan takes victory up ahead. Daniel Gao managing to fly through into third with Davies, with Davies in third, and Aiden Hall completing the top four just 2 seconds behind. Big shame for Zach Novak after starting second, finishes in sixth, and I think Jaden Russell and Cody Lawrence are going to be hoping for more from that as well.
Yeah, the big winner in that, obviously aside from Daniel Hardigan, yeah, Daniel Gao making up those positions. Pretty unfortunate there for Cody Lawrence with that accident.
Yeah, certainly was. But now it is time for our C main 12 laps this one, and it's a 17-car grid. It's Vickers and Bennett who line up on the front row with Jaden Russell and Tyler Stevenson on row 2. McCandy and Hewitt starting from 5th and 6th. King and Lamacchia 7th and 8th. Howell and Kelly round out the top 10. Caden Brown is going to be starting from 11th alongside John Schultz, and both drivers that really should have finished higher than they did in their heats. Cody Lawrence and Dylan DeBono, another driver looking for some redemption, but he'll be starting all the way back from 14th. He's got a lot of work to do, as does Corey Steinhauser and Clayton Tilley and Scott Reed, our absentee drivers. I don't think we will see them take the grid, so 15 cars. But Clayton Tilley is actually out there at the moment, so good to see that he has gotten his car onto the grid. Missed him in the heats.
Just seeing him come out behind the pace truck now, so yeah, really looking forward to this, to the B main. Some really big names in there. A lot of fast drivers in there, all having accidents in the earlier heat races.
And just like the heats, it's going to be the top 4 that transfer through, but this time they transfer through into the B main, and everyone outside of the top 4 will no longer be able to race tonight. So the drivers are going to have to keep it clean as per usual. Stay out of trouble, work on those positions, and make sure that you're feeling the track out correctly, because it's certainly getting slicker and slicker as time goes on. On come the lights as the sun sets over Knoxville. But you definitely see how much that slick line around the track has enlarged itself over the heats. The driver's going to be struggling for some grip. Wind back the rear wing a little and you'll get some of that stability back, especially around a high-speed circuit like Knoxville. Pace truck then into the pits. Leading them away will be Hayden Vickers. And he leaves it a little bit later than others. Nearly spinning on the start, and actually the top 2 leaving them all behind. Jaden Russell stays with him. Hewitt with a big slide up the top there, just manages to stay out of trouble. And Nathan Bennett is battling with a driver who was experiencing some technical issues there. But Bennett, it seems, has worked it out. No, Hewitt, a big crash. Hewitt coming together there with Hayden McCandy. And that's 2 races now that Lewis Hewitt has had a crash, and he will probably not be happy. But Hayden McCandy certainly unhappy. He's retired. We're going to say goodbye to him for the rest of the night. Meanwhile, on for the lead, Hayden Vickers just getting passed by Jaden Russell as we take a look at the battle for the top 6. My goodness, the drivers almost coming together. Nathan Bennett, Bob King, along with Cody Lawrence, trying to go through the middle and now round the outside of King to hopefully nab away that 3rd position. Remember, this is for the transfer spot. These drivers all battling for 3rd and 4th place.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We do have so many big drivers down the back of this field due to incidents, so you have to be pushing pretty hard for these 4 incidences.
Dylan DeBono is over. Dylan DeBono has been involved in a crash, and we're going to have to say goodbye to him there as, oh my goodness, Bob King coming together with Caden Brown there up the top. Brown now back outside that top 9 positions. This is quite the crazy C main we've got, but Jaden Russell up the front, not facing any of those issues. He is not looking back since he passed Hayden Vickers. But Cody Lawrence pushing there for 3rd. Aaron Kelly has got a good gap back to 5th place in the form of Bob King, and we ride on board with John Schultz as he looks at all of this. My goodness, Adrian Lamarkia.
Yeah, Bob King again taking those narrow entry lines but running it quite wide, so it seems to be working quite well for him. He's picked up quite a lot of quite a lot of pace even after that incident earlier on.
Yeah, for sure. Schultz managing to force his way past Lamarchia. But 2nd, 3rd and 4th now battling hard. That's Vickers, Lawrence and Kelly. And it looks like Cody Lawrence could potentially get the position here, but Vickers holding on to the groove around the outside. Through comes Lawrence to do the slide job, and it looks like he's parked it on the line and manages to maintain the position, and that has really opened up the challenge for Aaron Kelly. Up he goes to the top of the circuit, but not able to park it on the line, and Lawrence gets it right back. We're almost at the final lap now. Oh my goodness, that was incredibly close between Kelly and Vickers. But up the front, Jaden Russell just briefly finding the wall, but he has got the gap to the cars behind him to cruise home and take victory in the C main. Remember, he's going to have to start 4th last in the B main. We got a car up and over. Bob King is out. Bob King is out. We're going to say goodbye to him as well. And there goes Jaden Russell across the line. Cody Lawrence just losing out to Aaron Kelly there for 2nd place, and Clayton Tilley coming through from the very back of the grid to finish in 4th. He's definitely gotten his night back on track.
Yeah, a few position changes there. Pretty unfortunate again for Bob King. I reckon he passed probably about 5 or 6 people again for another race, and unfortunately getting collected up. So good work there by Jaden Russell, and so it's Russell, Kelly, Lawrence, and Tilley making it through.
Yeah, unfortunately, Lewis Hewitt down there in 9th. We won't be seeing him again tonight, but it looks like David Heileman has not been present tonight, so at the very least, Hewitt has got a little points buffer to him. Regardless, it's going to give all the drivers behind them a big advantage that they are continuing on. B-main time then. We got 21 cars here. Ryan Harris and Joe Daly are going to lead them away with Mitchell Broom and Callum Davidson behind them. Beatty, Rasmussen, Norman, and Bastian round out the top 8. Jake Maloney and Zach Novak rounding out the top 10. And then we go through to Cam Taylor and Nash Granger on row 6. Hobbo and Cooper Dunn, 13th and 14th. Lumsden and Howard, Griffiths and Russell, Kelly and Lawrence, your top 20. And Clayton Tilley, of course, rounding out our field. Those last 4 drivers, the top 4 from the previous race. And it looks like only 4 cars from this B main will go through to the feature. So this is the very last chance that drivers have to get themselves a spot in the final race of the night.
Yeah, just seeing the cars pace up again behind the truck. Just looking great aerial view there as well. So just looking at that surface now, just seeing how it's wearing in a little bit more as we come along. So yeah, 10 minutes and 14 lap race. So going to be building some heat and getting that clay brushed off.
And of course, the drivers can vote on whether or not the track is reset before the start of the feature, but more often than not, they've been inclined to leave the track as it is, because Slick Track definitely provides an extra challenge to setting up your car and driving your car as well. These cars only have one gear, but you've got so much else to do in the cockpit of one of these things that you don't want to have to worry about changing gear. But Harrison Daly going to lead them away as they begin the race. Pace truck will be looking out for pulling into the pits as it does. So Harris on pole. Let's see how early he goes. It's a very gentle start there from Ryan Harris on the slick, but manages to get it going. And Mitchell Broom moves through into second, but Joe Daly has been balked there and is concertinaed back into the field. That is a huge crash. Jaden Russell, Joe Daly. Oh my goodness. I couldn't even scroll through all the drivers before they... Oh my goodness. Damian Rasmussen hit all the way back to the rear of the grid. He was running in second, so this race has already gotten off to a very dramatic start.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate there for Rasmussen. So, but managed to save it, sitting in 12th place at the moment. Just heard a bit more car contact. I didn't catch who it was, but yeah, already two pretty big incidents there, and we're only on lap 3.
Well, for second back, it's looking like quite the fight, because Ryan Harris is just cruising away from these guys. Mitchell Broom currently in second, but Lockie Beattie and Nathan Norman pressuring him. Norman down to the inside as we ride on board with Jake Maloney battling for that 5th place. He's short up there behind Mitchell Broom. And Cam Taylor as well coming together with Lockie Beattie and fired into the wall was Zach Novak. Oh, it was Zach Novak. And he was running quite well as well. So Novak's rotten luck continues in this series. Davidson working the outside, trying to make his way past, but looks like a lot of drivers finding a bit of grip down there through the middle.
Yeah, very unfortunate there for Zach Novak. Almost like an innocent bystander with a bit of that collision and firing him off into the wall like that. So just seeing this mid-pack now sorting themselves out, running 3 wide in some spots. So yeah, quite a lot of battles at the moment.
Yeah, Jake Maloney tries to get through on Mitchell Broom. They make contact. Broom shoved out of the way there and falls back into the clutches of Taylor and Davidson, and those guys running 5th and 6th. So Mitchell Broom is in big trouble here. Didn't get a good exit. Lets Taylor through, and that's concertinaed everyone. Lockie Beattie then into Callum Davidson. All the drivers having trouble keeping their cars straight. Cody Lawrence almost spun as well.
Yeah, and that seems to have gapped them right back between Harris and Norman now. Have pulled over nearly over a 2-second gap to Jake Maloney there. And yeah, Jake Maloney being really held out defending his lines against Cam Taylor.
Nathan Norman and Ryan Harris now looking like they're together as a bit of 3-wide action there, and shoved unceremoniously out of the way there was Mitchell Broom. He's had a very rough time here in the B main, trying to come back now at Cody Lawrence. Little bit of side-by-side running between Lockie Beattie and Max Lumsden. And Lumsden goes through onto the inside. Can he take that 5th place? No, there's just no grip there. The rear end fires itself out. Cam Taylor and Jake Maloney, though, still fighting hard for that 3rd place. Maloney with a compromised exit. 14-lapper this one. And they're coming up to the end of lap 12. So not much time left here in this B main. Cam Taylor, though, gaps Jake Maloney, and it looks like he might have done just enough to keep that 3rd place. But Maloney now facing pressure from Lockie Beattie for that transfer spot.
Yeah, just coming around now onto the final lap. Does look like Nathan Norman has closed that gap to Harris, but might just be a little bit too late on that. Just looking back now at Lockie Beattie from Jake Maloney. Jake Maloney looking pretty safe now just as they come up to that finish line. Oh,
What happened? There's been an incident there at the line. Something happened. Oh, it was a lapped car and a big crash there at the end. Ryan Harris ultimately crossing the line in first there with Norman Taylor and Maloney completing that top 4. We say goodbye to everyone down the order. Beatty and Lawrence missing out. Aaron Kelly and Max Lumsden missing out. They had the pace to finish in the top 4, as did Mitchell Broom and Clayton Tilley, but unfortunately he could do no better than 10th. Damian Rasmussen falls from 6th to 11th, with Brenton Hobson finishing in 12th. Howard, Griffiths, Davidson round out the top 15, and then Cooper Dunn, Zach Novak, one of the heartbreak stories here. The guy has a lot of success in eNASCAR, but he just can't catch a break here. Joe Daly, Ethan Bastian, and Nash Granger round out the top 20, and John Schultz, it looks like, was barely even... No, it was Jaden Russell, sorry. Looking at the wrong driver. Russell finishing barely one lap. But now we are into the warm-up, and the drivers will get just a minute or so to put their feature setups on the car, make sure that their field setup is good, and we return to the spinning wheel to see what the inversion for the feature is. It could be anywhere from 1st to 20th, and it is 8th place that is going to be inverted. So now we've just got to work out who is the driver to have gotten that position. But we saw some pretty serious inverts in previous rounds. I remember at Williams Grove, the top 17 were inverted, which certainly made for a challenging event, but only the top 8 this time round. That said, as we've seen at Knoxville, it is incredibly hard to pass.
yeah, that's exactly right, Reese. Yeah, as we've seen, just seeing a few accidents here in the warm-up as everyone's dialing in their setups at the moment. But yeah, being that front runner seems to be really favouring at the moment. Not too much passing for that number 1 position.
Yeah, and starting in that number 1 position, it's just been confirmed, is going to be Hayden Cardwell. And I think this is the first time he started on the front row of a feature this season. So he's certainly going to have the advantage coming off the line. The drivers pull through into the pits, and we'll get ready to go through into the feature. And we'll wait and see who takes the spoils of victory here at Knoxville Raceway. So it's going to be 30 green flag laps here tonight, and if you're new to the ASC series, we use a manual lap counter in this in the race sessions. The feature set to be 100 laps distance in sim, but using a bit of third-party software to make sure that caution laps are not counted and penalties can be applied by race control if necessary. So checkered flag flies. We're going to get through into the feature right here, right now, as the sun sets at Knoxville. The stadium lights around the circuit illuminating us as the natural light of day goes away. So let's take a look at the feature grid as they line up. It's going to be Hayden Cardwell starting in that first place. Joel Berkeley will actually line up in second. Cameron Dance in third. Hardigan fourth. Rice fifth. G sixth. McLeod seventh. And Brad O'Brien, winner of Heat 1, will be starting 8th. Remember, the top 8 getting inverted for the feature. Outside that inversion, Harry Stewart starts from 9th, and Daniel Gow rounds out the top 10 on row 5. From 11th and 12th, Daniel Selleck and Bradley Oldfield. Behind them, Lewis Clark and Josh Barry. Clayton Davies and Ashton Manif starting in the midfield in 15th and 16th. Dixon and Shute in 17th and 18th, with Butts and Hall on the 10th row of the grid. And rounding us out is the top 4 from the B main. Ryan Harris, Nathan Norman, Cam Taylor, and Jake Maloney. Now, They have got an awful lot of work to do, those guys from the back. Ryan Harris is another driver that has suffered an awful lot of poor luck this season, despite his fantastic pace and proven record in sprint car racing in the sim sphere. But anything can happen, and cautions are certainly a possibility with the track as slick as it is.
Yeah, Reese, I did want to ask, so there will be some caution laps coming out for this?
There will be. There will be. It will be thrown by race control if deemed necessary. Well, our Director Jay says hopefully not, and I agree with him. It would be nice to have a race go green the whole way through, but of course, we've seen quite a few caution-causing incidents tonight. Of course, caution's not on in the heats or the consolations, but our race director, Brady Baldwin, will throw a caution flag if an incident is deemed big enough, and then the laps will not be counted. So we will get 30 full laps of green flag racing here.
Yeah, excellent. It's great just seeing that sunset and the sprint cars go around. So just such a beautiful image there.
That is a nice sunset. I really got to take my hats off to the art team at iRacing. They certainly kept up their fantastic game with these night lighting effects. Now that day-night transitions are a part of iRacing. Inside the sim, the green flag has flown, but the drivers are going to go around for a couple more laps to resort themselves, make sure that the inversion takes place. So it is Cardwell and Berkeley there who have assumed their positions up at the front of the grid. And we will be going green this lap. So Hayden Cardwell leads them away. It's a Slick Sim Sports front row. 1, 2, 3, in fact. And leading them away goes Hayden Cardwell. We are green for the feature here at Knoxville in the ASC Championship. And a good clean start from everyone as they come through the first turns for the first time. Little bit of a wiggle from Cameron Dance, but it looks like he's managed to keep it together, facing some immense pressure from behind, though, from Mitchell G for that 5th place. The top 3 are absolutely together at the moment and all sticking to the bottom.
Yeah, it did look like he might have just clipped the back there of Daniel Hardigan, so lucky to keep it pointing straight. But seems very clean at the moment, not too much to speak of. I think there was a car a little bit sliding down the back there, but everyone keeping their nose clean for the moment.
Yeah, Hayden actually gapping Joel a little bit at the front, starting to move a little bit up the circuit, trying to find where the grip is, but sticking all the way down to the bottom on the exit. And I'm seeing a couple cars almost come together in the midfield. Oh, and a couple cars have come together. Richie McLeod has been spun in the middle of turn 1, and our round 1 feature winner down to round about 15th position at the moment. Actually 19th position. He's even lower than I thought, so that's a big shame for Richie. But up the front, Joel Berkeley and Daniel Hardigan fighting hard. Hardigan trying to work the inside here versus Joel Berkeley, but Joel feeding the right rear to the wall as per usual. He has got a great amount of momentum, and he's even going to come at his teammate here.
Yeah, some amazing pace there. Going around the outside, almost come together, but yeah, Cardwell just holding that inside at the moment, and seems to be quite comfortable holding that position for the moment.
Yeah, and it looks like all 3 drivers are quite comfortable at the moment because they are maintaining that gap to the drivers behind. Oh, there we go. Joel Berkeley through into the lead of the race and hitting the wall again for good measure. So now it's side by side as Cameron Dance gets a better exit versus G. Dance, of course, running in 4th place, and it looks like he's managed to break free of that battling pack. G now facing pressure from Gao, from Rice, from Oldfield. Bradley Oldfield monstering his way up to the back of his teammate and working the outside line to boot. Couple cars coming together in the background, though. Jacob Dixon and Brad O'Brien almost had a huge smash.
Yeah, a few bump and grinds at the moment there, but yeah, lucky to keep it going at the moment. Just looking on just hearing over the race radio, so yeah, 20 laps to go now.
All right, well, this race is going quite quickly, and it looks like our overlays are in sync, which is awesome to see. Hayden Cardwell putting the pressure on, having the pressure being put on by Hardigan, and Cameron Dance now, he's had a couple of issues. Daniel Gow has managed to get up alongside him, and with the outside line, can he get the momentum, get the exit? He definitely can. So Cameron Dance, not in the best of spirits at the moment, gradually losing those positions and now facing a two-pronged attack from the united pair of Oldfield and Rice.
Yeah, just seeing Cameron just being just a little bit off the pace, as we did see earlier in the warm-up and in the qualifying, he was the fastest, but yeah, just seems to be getting shuffled down the order at the moment. Now under pressure by 7th and 8th.
Oh, there we go. Dance with the slide job on Daniel Gow, but it hasn't worked. Gow lines up the exit beautifully and takes the position back promptly. For the lead, though, it looks like Hayden Cardwell has managed to catch up to Joel Berkeley once again, and the two teammates running side by side. Berkeley, you see, working it all the way down to the inside, and Hayden Cardwell keeping the outside line, carrying a bit more speed through the turns. That results in a nice launch down these straight line sections, and it looks like Joel Berkeley is done with that inside line. There is no grip left down there.
Yeah, Joel Berkeley looking like just been struggling to keep there with Cardwell, so Cardwell just pulling that gap just over half a second now.
Mitchell G, meanwhile, found his way back by Cameron Dance here. Dance actually starting to pick up the pace substantially, struggling for grip up there at the top, but certainly got a bit more fire in his belly now. But Mitchell G has been running quite well here. He's faced off some immense amounts of pressure here. Oh, Cameron Dance just getting into the wall as Daniel Gow battles with James Rice. And Rice, with no grip at all down there in the middle, actually losing out to his teammate Oldfield behind. I wonder if he's going to start switching up to the outside, because it looks like that is the popular place to be at the moment.
Yeah, it is great seeing those two teammates together, but looks like Lewis Clark is just gaining on him slightly, so yeah, Bradley Oldfield could be under a bit of pressure soon.
There's Harry Stewart and Devin Butts battling. We just briefly saw in a bit of contact there with the wall between the two United teammates. Harry Stewart is not having an excellent time here at the moment. We'd usually expect him further up to the front, but he's mired down in the 15th, 16th area, battling with Jake Maloney and Devin Butts as well, who's actually had a really good turn of pace here in the mid-race. And Cameron Dance has had an incident. He is back into 6th place now, falling behind Daniel Gow. So he's going to have to be careful here. Meanwhile, those two United teammates of Rice and Oldfield continue to battle, and that is bringing Lewis Clark right into contention.
Yeah, it looks like the heat is starting to build for that 6th place position. Daniel Gow almost a second now to Cameron Dance in 6th place, but as you can see, Rice, Oldfield and Lewis Clark all gaining very quickly on Cameron Dance.
That they are, and Daniel Gow, meanwhile, is gapping the lot of them, so he's really got a good car under him as Daniel. Goodness me, this race is flying by. We're already on coming around to start lap 24 of 30, or 31 rather. Cardwell and Berkeley still stable up the front.
Just saw some live images then. Another mistake there by Cameron Dancing in the wall and sliding out. So it does look like that will be Rice and Oldfield will be in on him. And looks like Lewis Clark as well. Very opportunistic getting through as well.
Brad O'Brien could get in on this as well as Clark and Dance go side by side. And Cameron trying his best to keep it in the cushion up there up the top, and he gets the exit down the straight, but 3 wide then between Brad O'Brien and Lewis Clark, and Clark vaulting it into the turns up to the outside where the momentum is, and he has protected both of those positions. The lead is on, meanwhile, between Hayden Cardwell and Joel Berkeley. They've just come up on a lapped car of Aidan Hall, and it looks like Berkeley has taken advantage. He is back in the lead.
Yeah, amazing work there by Berkeley, reeling in that he was over half a second only 5 or so laps ago. So yeah, really put that pressure back on Cardwell, who's now lost that position.
Well, can Hayden get the win back from his teammate in these dying laps of the race? Touch wood, we've gone caution-free so far. This is going to be a very quick feature regardless of what happens from this point on. And they're coming up on 2 more lap cars here. Ashton Manif and Josh Barry, who are in their own battle at the moment. And it's 3 laps to go as Joel Berkeley moves to the outside. Cardwell is stuck on the inside, though. They continue to go side by side, the teammates, and Cardwell vaulting it into the turn. He takes the lead back, but for how long? Berkeley could run him back up the inside here. They still got Ashton Manif to deal with down here on the inside. Of course, Manif is entitled to his line, but I don't think Joel Berkeley will be too happy with how this has gone. He takes the lead back from Cardwell. This is quite the tense battle for the lead between the Slick Sim Sport teammates. Cardwell to the inside. Oh my God! That is a lap car stopped, and the yellow flag is out as the white flag was due to come out. Hayden Cardwell battling for victory fantastically with Joel Berkeley, and that's just been snuffed out in the most cruel of ways.
Yeah, blinking you'd almost miss it. I couldn't really work out what happened. So I think there was a stationary car there on the inside. So
It was. And
might not have been able to
exactly?
see him. Yeah.
It was
Oh.
Mitchell G. It was Mitchell G who was stationary there. Remember, G was running 4th for a time, so something
Yeah.
happened to him.
Yeah, it did look like he wasn't facing the right way up the track, so potentially had an incident, but I didn't think he was that far back down on the lap, so yeah, pretty unfortunate there with a few lap traffic. I think, yeah, as you can see, Mitchell G looks like he was coming back
It
off
almost
an
looked like a
accident.
hardware failure or something, because if we look at Mitchell G here, when he comes onto the start-finish straight, dealing with some wayward car behavior, and then the car just spins for some reason, and there goes Cardwell right into him. Wow. Of course, a big thanks to our mates at Modem Simulation for the replay sponsorship, but tell you what, I reckon a lot of drivers would want to be in better circumstances than that being shown on a replay. Well, Joel Berkeley is only going to have a 1-lap dash to the finish here, or two laps, sorry. It's going to be a 2-lap dash to the finish for Joel Berkeley. He's got Daniel Hardigan and Daniel Gow right behind him. And the rules in this series are that if a caution happens in the final 10 laps, then the restart is single file. So Joel Berkeley is not going to have any trouble dealing with cars on his outside. Oh, careful, Joel. Couple of technical issues there. Don't want him to fall
Cancel all your
victim to
downloads.
that. Yeah, goodness me. What are you torrenting, mate? But Hardigan, after seemingly losing touch with the Slick Sim Sport top 2, has managed to get himself up into 2nd, and Cardwell, crucially, in that 4th place. And we are go. So can Hayden Cardwell come back here in the final couple of laps to get a podium? Joel Berkeley, it seems, quite comfortable as Cardwell goes up to the outside. He has suffered some damage. No front wing for Hayden Cardwell. And we are through almost onto the final lap here for Joel Berkeley.
Yeah,
It looks
you can actually see
like-
that smoke coming off Cardwell, so yeah, a bit unfortunate. I don't think he'll be recovering that top 5 position.
Nah, it doesn't look like it, but Berkeley's still running that flat-out run, and he has got the gap that he needs now over Daniel Hardigan. The slick track is with him, and Joel Berkeley takes the feature win here at Knoxville. Fantastic to see there, and it was Daniel Hardigan in 2nd, with Brad O'Brien coming through into 3rd, and oh, that's a problem there for Cardwell on his side. Man, how would you be after battling for the win all race? But Joel Berkeley certainly has many reasons to be happy here tonight. He drove a fantastic feature, battled clean and battled hard with Hardigan, with both Hardigan and with his teammate Hayden Cardwell. He definitely deserves this. Parks his car up in victory lane, as you are wont to do. Well, I was very happy with that feature. It definitely had some interesting moments. Quite a bit of drama, though. A lot of drivers will be coming home unhappy tonight.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Through that the C and B main as well. So a lot of big names dropping out. So great work there from Cardwell. Very, very quick feature race as well. So that 30 laps, almost you blink and you miss it. So yeah, be pretty happy with that.
I think that'll be in the running for the quickest feature we've had all season. So final confirmation of your top three: Joel Berkeley, Daniel Hardigan, and Brad O'Brien. O'Brien backing up his win last round at Limaland with another podium in the feature. So awesome stuff for Mr. O'Brien there. We have got our drivers coming in for interviews. Joel Berkeley is the first that join us. G'day, Joel. Welcome to the commentary box and congratulations on your victory. It was almost a slick Sim Sports 1-2 with you and Hayden, but it all went wrong for him at the end.
Look, that's a shame what happened at the end there. We're putting on a show, I thought, and yeah, that really sucks for Hayden what happened there. I'm pretty bummed for him because we were putting on I thought it was a good race. So, I mean, sometimes these things happen, and it happened tonight, which unfortunately ruined a really good race.
Yeah, it's a shame. We did think that was a very good show you guys were putting on at the front too, but still, it's an excellent result for you coming home with this win, and it looks like not having to work your way up through the consolations this time, which is certainly good.
Oh, you're telling me. I was a bit scared off that start in that heat race when whatever happened there. It was a bit scary, and yeah, thankfully got lucky there at the end of that heat race and got through to second, and yeah, got lucky with the invert and had to. I guess it was in my hands instead of having to come from the back this time.
Yeah, certainly was. Well, certainly a great points haul for you in terms of the championship. And before we let you go, Joel, is there anyone that you would like to thank from your side of the garage at Slick?
Yeah, look, massive thanks to the guys at Slick Simsport for all they do. Everyone that's there that makes it possible. Unlucky to Hayden again. Thanks to you guys for broadcasting, all the team here that make this happen and put on a broadcast and make this look professional, everything. And Brady and Bob for their work behind the scenes. And yeah, look, hopefully we can come back next week and have a good showing.
Indeed. Joel Berkeley there, your feature winner. Coming in our second place position was Mr. Daniel Hardigan. Daniel, welcome. My goodness, what a feature that was. Just take us through it from your perspective, because it certainly looked wild.
Yeah, no, it was pretty cruisy from my seat. I was just hoping Hayden and Joel would get in each other's way and give me the opportunity to, move forward and take a couple spots. Then Hayden was a bit unlucky. He got caught up in lap cars. So I was probably only good for P3 there.
Well, nonetheless, coming home in second, which is certainly a good points haul combined with your other results tonight. It's certainly going to help your championship standing.
Yeah, Bob told me before I turned up that I was third, which was surprising. And I think young Lois Hewitt got taken out in the heat and the C main. So, yeah, should make it interesting.
Certainly shall, and we hope to be talking to you again next week, Daniel. Before we let you go, is there anyone that you would like to thank from your perspective?
Yeah, just the lads at AC Sports. We've been working hard trying to get these things rolling pretty good. Just our sponsors, Cricky Motorsport, Bunbury Kitchens, P1, and just the lads.
Daniel Hartigan, your second place finisher in the feature tonight at Knoxville. Our final driver interview of the night, the number 77 of Brad O'Brien. Well, Brad, last time we talked to you, you were on the top step of the podium at Limaland, and you backed it up with another podium here at Knoxville.
Yeah, thank God. I hate this track, and I've put so many laps into it the last couple of days to try and figure something out. And yeah, I was sitting in 10th with about 5 to go, thinking that all that time and effort was wasted, but no, I managed to pull something marvellous out of the hat.
Yeah, certainly looked like a wild race there in the midfield. How was the track evolving over the course of the night? Because we've seen plenty of racing at Knoxville, and we noticed that it's either the extreme bottom or the extreme top that drivers run. But a lot of drivers were really feeding the right rear tonight.
Yeah, I think I got a little bit lucky there towards the end. I tried the top in about halfway, and there was just nothing up there. It just turned hard left on me, and I don't know if I got into somebody, but yeah, and then I went back to the bottom and seemed to reel in a couple of people, and yeah, just decided to stay down there. It's much safer down there anyway.
Yeah, definitely looked like it from our perspective as well. Well, nonetheless, podium after taking the feature win last time out certainly shows that you've got what it takes to put it up there in the future rounds in the second half of the season as well.
Yeah, I hope so. That should leave me pretty high up in points now. I would have thought I've had a pretty shitty start to the season, so really needed these last couple of good rounds, and yeah, hopefully move up into the top 5 or something around there.
Well, anyone that you would like to thank, Brad, before we let you go?
Yeah, of course. I've got to thank Tilly. He had a few dramas with his computer tonight and missed quali in his heat race. But if it wasn't for him, there's no way I'd be able to run the bottom as well as I did tonight. I got to thank Newland Clothing. Newland Contracting, Verdict Clothing, Everything Dirt, CT Designs, Gorrelba Hockey Schools, and yeah, everybody at Momentum that helps this happen. And of course, you guys and Brady and Bob and yeah, everybody with ODSE.
Thank you very much, Brad O'Brien, number 77, third place in the feature tonight. And that brings to an end proceedings for this event, Nick. My goodness, I love how things turn out at Knoxville. Incredible drama all through the night, especially in those final few laps. But crucially, the championship is going to be shaken up. Lewis Hewitt with a very poor result. David Heilemann not even turning up. And Daniel Hartigan finishing in second place. The championship is wide open.
Yeah, that was absolutely such a great introduction there for Speedway here on SimSpeed TV and iRacing. Yeah, I can't wait for next week. I'd be really looking forward to having a spectate.
For sure, and you'll be able to catch next round of the ASC series this time, this place, same time next week. And we are at Lanier Speedway Dirt, which is certainly going to turn things up. Lanier, a tarmac oval usually, but iRacing puts some clay on it for the dirt racing. And we certainly have a fun time around there. Make sure that you join us. We want to thank Oceanic Dirt Sim Events and SM SimSport for their support of this series. Once again, my name is Reese Gardner. It's Nick Scaradu joining me in the commentary box, and Jay Kennedy once again on cameras making everything happen behind the scenes. Who is going to take victory next time out in the ASC series? We've got a huge fight for a championship on our hands. From all of us at SimSpeed TV, it's bye for now, but not forever.
Fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going around the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to him. Oh my God! Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go. Oh no! That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?